Habis ba'da subuh lah.
Itu seperti apa Bang? Bisa Bang ceritain sedikit Bang?
Kebetulan saya lagi nggak di sini juga tadi. Cuma saya dapat info langsung dari grup WhatsApp di warga Luminpar.
Itu langsung deras ya hujan ini ya?
Ya, langsung
banjirnya ya?
Langsung hantam perumahan di klaster ya.
Sampai siang ini sudah tercatat 9 orang meninggal dengan sebaran 1 orang di Pasaman Barat, kemudian 3 di Kabupaten Agam dan 5 orang di Kota Padang. Dan dari catatan kami, angka ini pun masih ada kecenderungan untuk bertambah. Walaupun kita tetap berharap agar jangan ada lagi tambahan korban jiwa. Tapi kondisi saat ini masih ada beberapa orang lagi yang sedang dalam pencarian.
The earth breathes. Ancient and alive, in a surge of fiery motion, 5 volcanoes have erupted across the globe within just 72 hours. We witnessed the planet's restless pulse. A dramatic display of nature's power that commands our attention. Is there a hidden signal which our planet is sending?
A roar breaks the silence of Ethiopia's highlands. After 12,000 silent years, Mount Haile Gubi explodes into life. Molten rock sweeps into the desert night, painting the sky in red and gold. Scientists scramble to understand why this ancient volcano suddenly stirred from its prehistoric sleep. Thousands of miles away, Indonesia, home to more than 100 active volcanoes, is glowing again. In the last 30 days, Indonesia recorded 1,400 quakes of magnitude up to 6.4. The Pacific Fire Belt ignites, Semeru rumbles, then Sanjang API bursts. Hours later, Liwatobi joins in 3 eruptions in near succession. Indonesia lies in the Ring of Fire where 90% of the world's quakes occur due to interactions among 15 major tectonic plates. To the north, Russia's Bezimiany roars, blasting ash 10 kilometers into the air, a vast plume drifting across Kamchatka, reaching commercial air lanes. Pilots are warned, flights are diverted. It's a display of raw geological power. And yet, within the destruction lies beauty. In Hawaii, the Kilauea volcano glows under the night sky. Rivers of magma twist across black rock, the surface shimmering like liquid glass. It's the same force sculpting continents and building islands, the heartbeat of a living planet. Experts warn that these eruptions, though dramatic, are not linked. Earth's crust is a restless, shifting skin powered by heat and pressure, deep below. Each volcano moves to its own rhythm, guided by tectonic forces that have shaped the planet for 4 billion years. For now, there's no sign of a global chain reaction, just a sharp reminder that beneath our feet lies a world still alive, unpredictable, and endlessly powerful.
Indonesia's disaster management agency says at least 28 people have died and 10 are missing amid landslides and floods. Torrential rains have been hammering the country's North Sumatra province. The agency said on Thursday morning that a tropical cyclone was still active across the island of Sumatra. It's been drenching the province with rain since last weekend, causing growing damage. Search and rescue efforts are underway across an expanding area. Indonesia's meteorological agency said the rainy season has been intensifying since early November. Heavy rain caused landslides in central Java province 2 weeks ago. Local media outlets say over 30 people died. Seasonal rains and floods have also been battering southern Thailand. There have been at least 55 fatalities. At an evacuation center in the worst-hit city of Hat Yai in Songkhla province, people were taking shelter with only the bare necessities.
I can't think of anything. Everything was wiped out.
Thai weather officials say the rainfall is beginning to ease up, but they're urging people to stay on alert as more heavy rains could occur. In Australia, two 15-year-olds have asked the High Court to block a ban on social media for young people. The teens joined with a group supporting children's digital rights to seek an injunction against the new law. The group is led by a state lawmaker in New South Wales. It said that the legislation robs young Australians of a constitutionally implied right to freedom of political communication. In response, the communications minister said that the government's policy remains unchanged.
Despite the fact that we are receiving threats and legal challenges by people with ulterior motives, the Albanese government remains steadfastly on the side of parents and not of platforms.
The legal action is taking place at the last minute and is not expected to affect the law before it comes into effect on December 10th. The law says social media platforms must prevent children under the age of 16 from creating or maintaining an account. Companies can face significant fines if they don't comply. The ban covers 10 platforms, including TikTok, X, Snapchat, and YouTube. People in urban India put up with some of the world's worst air pollution. Those lucky enough to escape are driving a new travel boom. It's called astrotourism, and the attractions are simple: good air and stargazing. We go with NHK World's Nomura Yusuke to where the heavens are clear.
The famous India Gate is a sightseeing road when you can see it. Drivers switch on their lights even during the day. These scenes are common in the capital New Delhi. Even breathing can be risky. In mid-November, airborne concentrations of hazardous PM2.5 particles reached 30 times World Health Organization standards.
It has become very difficult to live here in Delhi these days, with all these problems due to the terrible pollution and huge traffic jams. I want to move to the mountains.
In search of a break, we flew over an hour from New Delhi. Then drove more than 200 kilometers along often deserted roads into northern India, to where the mountains open up. The Spiti Valley is a high-altitude region of Himachal Pradesh state. The Himalayan landscape has caught the attention of urban stargazers. This year through July, it drew about 160,000 visitors.
There is no pollution, only mountains, and so people want to see stargazing, and we cannot see in Delhi and famous places like Mumbai. There is no stars, there is a lot of pollution.
At 9 p.m., we follow a group of about 20 tourists who have come from near New Delhi. They settle in for the show.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. ये बन रहा है ना W या 3 बोलो. इसका एक ग्रीक नाम है, बेसिकली इसका नाम है कैसियोपिया.
I feel very happy that I got to know about the stars and the constellations, and that I've also captured some pictures.
The state government is taking initiatives to promote astrotourism. It has invested about $110,000 to support the local economy. Construction is underway on the Stargazing Center with a museum. It's scheduled to open next year.
In here, people are dependent on tourism and second agriculture only. Tourism has given them new opportunities and new fields to explore. This project will definitely benefit the locals.
Unspoiled nature offers a sharp contrast with the worsening man-made pollution of the cities. Starry skies are changing how many Indians relax. Nomura Yusuke, NHK World, Spiti Valley.
A ferocious blaze ripping through a housing estate in Hong Kong's Tai Po neighbourhood, the city's deadliest fire in years. Officials say at least 36 people, including a firefighter, have died, with hundreds reported missing. Residents were evacuated as the fire spread across 7 of the 8 high-rise residential buildings in the complex, which has been undergoing renovations since July last year. The cause of the blaze is not yet known, but it was fanned by the construction mesh and flammable bamboo scaffolding sheathing the buildings. Public broadcaster RTHK says police have arrested 3 men on suspicion of manslaughter over the fire. By early morning Hong Kong time, the fire department said the blaze was coming under control, with 3 of the buildings showing no signs of flames. It's unclear how many people might be trapped in the building, and the death toll's expected to rise. Hong Kong's police and fire departments have established a task force to investigate the cause of the fire. From the Galapagos Islands to India, seawater is being swamped by tiny plastic pellets known as nurdles. A new report by charity FIDRA has found that they're turning up in some of the world's most ecologically sensitive places, contaminating biodiversity hotspots in 23 regions. They're easily mistaken for food by marine life and can leach harmful chemicals into the ecosystem.
This year, we've seen 2 major nurdle spills happen around the world. So first one in March impacted the coast in the UK after a container ship collision happened in the North Sea. Millions of nurdles ended up washing up, and similar in May 2025, another container ship sank off the west coast of India, and this also led to devastating nurdle spill where millions of pellets ended up washing up and devastating fishing communities as well as wildlife on this coast.
FIDRA's global Great Nurdle Hunt project found that 90% of surveyed sites contain these little pellets used as raw materials in the manufacturing of plastic products.
It requires globally coordinated solutions alongside national action for effective prevention. So what FIDRA are calling companies to do that handle pellets is to implement just good practice measures at all stages of the supply chain. So this can be simple measures, is just to package them more safely when they're on board ships. And then we also need governments around the world to bring in effective laws to make these measures mandatory.
It's almost too late once they're in the environment, as they're very mobile and almost impossible to clean up because of their small size.
The White House has triggered a sweeping policy shift in the U.S., with America now suspending processing of all immigration requests from Afghans and deploying 500 additional National Guard troops to the country's capital. U.S. authorities say an Afghan national opened fire on 2 National Guard soldiers in a busy lunchtime district just blocks from the White House, forcing an immediate lockdown. Both soldiers are still in critical condition. Investigators identified the suspected gunman as 29-year-old Afghan national Ramanullah Lakhanwal from Washington state, whose exact motive is being ascertained. Now, according to reports, the suspected shooter previously served alongside U.S. forces in Afghanistan. The police say that the National Guards are in a critical condition and have been taken to hospital for treatment, while the Afghan suspect, who was also injured during confrontation, is also undergoing treatment. The fallout of the incident is already enormous. Within hours of the shooting, President Trump ordered the Department of Homeland Security to suspend all Afghan immigration requests. He also demanded a review of every Afghan who has entered the U.S. in recent years.
The Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here.
Trump further described the attack as an act of terror. Later in the day, the FBI also said that they are treating the case as an ongoing investigation of terrorism. And officials quickly echoed the president's line. But here's the catch. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem reportedly said the Afghan national arrived in the U.S. in September 2021 and applied for asylum in 2024, which was granted the following year under the Trump administration. In the aftermath of the shooting and Trump's directive, the U.S. has now halted processing of immigration requests related to Afghan nationals pending further review of security and vetting protocols. But this sudden immigration freeze places tens of thousands of Afghans in jeopardy. And according to reports, around 100,000 Afghan nationals were resettled across the U.S. and Canada after the 2021 U.S. pullout. The UK admitted 4,500 of the most vulnerable, while Pakistan took in roughly 700,000 more refugees after the Taliban takeover. The United States, one of the major players in the longest period of turmoil in Afghanistan's history, is now closing its doors and labeling refugees as security threats. And that distinction matters because immigrants choose to migrate. Refugees run for their lives. And Afghanistan's refugee crisis is not accidental. Washington has a major role in it.
President Cyril Ramaphosa termed as an insult Donald Trump's statement that he would bar South Africa from attending next year's G20 summit on American soil. In a statement Thursday, the presidency said South Africa would continue to participate as a full and active member of the G20. Last weekend, South Africa hosted a successful G20 summit, the first on African soil, which Washington boycotted despite being the incoming G20 president. South Africa rejected the U.S.'s suggestion to hand over the presidency to an embassy official. The ceremony instead happened at Pretoria's Foreign Ministry building after the summit. As a member of the bloc, South Africa does not need an invitation to a G20 event. The country has been a target for Trump since he returned to office at the start of the year, with his administration casting the country as anti-American because of its foreign policy. He has also attacked policies that seek to undo the legacy of apartheid by empowering South Africa's black population.
Strong maritime defenses make a lot of sense when you are surrounded by water. And to counter China's relentless military pressure, Taiwan's military and private sectors are floating some novel ideas.
The latest innovations in defense were on show recently in Taipei. About 500 companies from more than 10 countries took part. Unmanned boats drew a lot of attention. This one is made by a local firm. A major Taiwanese shipbuilder is also entering what has become a rapidly advancing part of the defense industry. The company typically makes large vessels and submarines for the Navy and Coast Guard. But workers have recently been throwing their energy into this unmanned boat. It's 8.6 meters long, and with a top speed of 65 kilometers per hour, it moves at quite a clip. What's more, it fires torpedoes and holds explosives for ramming enemy ships.
This is the control room. We can operate the unmanned boat from here.
It's operated remotely. Large areas of the ocean can be monitored simultaneously. The vehicle is relatively inexpensive without sacrificing performance. highly maneuverable unmanned boats could quickly detect attacks, making them useful in the face of China's formidable military might. Company officials see a golden opportunity. They've earmarked about $580 million to produce 1,300 unmanned boats.
Taiwan's increased military budget is good for defense-related industries like ours. I am confident we can increase our profits.
Workers at this Taiwanese drone maker are also turning their attention to the sea. And they're getting help from a university. The unmanned boat they're developing is about 2 meters long, also with a top speed of about 65 kilometers per hour. It can transport supplies, do reconnaissance, or even become a weapon. The team has equipped the vessel with a high-performance camera. It harnesses AI for automated tracking. Collaborations like this are a win-win situation. The firm can reduce development time and costs, and the university can improve its own human resources.
Ship design requires knowledge of materials and fluid dynamics. Taiwan is short of people in these areas, so this is an opportunity for students to deepen their expertise.
The team has even established a China-free supply chain with 80% of the boat's parts made in Taiwan.
We'll comply with government policies in our research and development and manufacturing. We want to create the best drones and unmanned boats.
More people in Taiwan are recognizing the maritime threat on their doorstep, and they no longer see defense as simply the government's domain.